We have only 2 weeks until our biggest passage yet, which will be at 2,300 nautical miles from Recife in Brazil to Grenada in the Caribbean. But if you know us, you know that we always find something else, and this time couldn't be different. We took some days off and we traveled to the other side of the Atlantic Ocean for a really fun week. Don't worry, it will make sense. And we are gonna work some extra hours to making time for our passage. I'm Roberta.
And I'm Duca.
And after 2 years bringing this sailboat that was neglected for over 22 years back to life, it's finally time to start exploring.
So don't forget to subscribe and to join us every Sunday for a new episode. So next step, in order to get the boat ready to cross the Caribbean, we need to replace this line, and not just replace the line, we need to solve the problem. I don't know if you can see, but the cover of the line is broken. Even though this core is Dyneema, the cover is just polyester and is not hanging, I think it's not strong enough. So what I'm gonna do is to replace that line with this one that is Dyneema core with Dyneema cover, and also I'm gonna create a cover with leather. So I'm gonna put some leather and hopefully this is gonna be enough for the crossing. That's the problem. The Dyneema core is still in perfect situation, but it's a 2,200 nautical miles crossing. I don't want this to break in the middle of the crossing, and then the boom is just gonna slam on the stays, and that's not gonna be good. So I rather get a new one and just make sure this is not gonna break again, because now it's gonna be much stronger. Let's wait and see. So first step is done. So the first step is to, by the way, I just saw this on Instagram today. That's so weird. I need to do this today, and somehow it showed me a way of doing this needling thing on the leather. So what I'm gonna do now is to get again the same line, and I'm gonna go around the line like this, and then I'll go in between this line and this line, and I just go stitching in between both sides. It's gonna make sense. Actually, if it goes exactly as I saw the video, it's gonna look really cool even. It's pretty cool. I love hand things. Check this out. It's not perfectly beautiful, but it's perfectly strong. That's actually better than I thought I would do. It's really, really good. So the idea now is to put this through the block and through this little hole.
So while Duca keeps doing this, I'm gonna go to the reception to get mail. I love having an address and getting mail.
Is this camera straight to me? I'm not sure.
Not really, actually.
Can you see on the bed?
No, you're not seeing Duca working.
Duca is so efficient. That's, you can tell.
How was this chanting? All around the block I hear the people counting, staring at their clocks, and you can see the children holding out their breath. Oh, cocks and bottles ready to pop out. Oh, no more crying, busy kissing you.
That's so awesome. I thought I was not gonna be able to run 4 times the line through the cover, but I did it, and the reason for that is because I do have the right tools. It's amazing how much easier it is to do anything if you have the right tools. So if you live on a boat and you don't have a splicing kit, that's not sponsored, that's actually was a gift from one of our patrons. This splicing kit is just essential. If you live on a boat, you do need to have a splicing kit because it makes your life so much easier. Now the next step is to see if we can fit this on this little hole.
The reason why I bought this box is to fill all the tools we have stored here, so we can have more space for food. Let's see if I can fit everything from here in here. Well, Duca got an unexpected visit while I was organizing things inside the boat. We didn't know, but Recife is a really busy port with people coming in and out of the country all the time. And from time to time, the Coast Guard shows up and announces it to check if you have all the mandatory safety equipment on the boat. Luckily, we have been preparing out for our longest passage so far, so she's all ready and there was nothing missing. And after the inspection, it was time to finish the installation of the new system for the boat. How is the job going?
It's pretty much done, I guess. Thanks out. I'm not sure if now that this is so strong and static, because this is not going to slide easy because it's too thick, maybe it's going to start scratching on this point. I'm not sure. So for now it's going to stay like this. I'm going to think for a couple days.
Let's stop talking about this and let's go to the swimming pool and have lunch.
It's really hot today. Yeah, the good thing about this yacht club is that the swimming pool is just right there. And we don't film that often, but I think I go to the swimming pool twice a day. It's just a jump, refresh, and come back to work.
Sometimes 3 times a day. The good thing is that there are 3 restaurants here inside.
Yeah, I thought it was just one.
The cheapest one we know, the other we don't know.
Yeah, but
So
I mean,
there was a restaurant here inside, so instead of cooking inside and heating up the boat or losing time cooking, we can have lunch here.
and to be honest, there is a shopping mall close by that if we go to the shopping mall, we spend the same amount of money as eating right in front of the boat next to the swimming pool, so it's
But
worth.
here the food's better because there we eat fast food.
By the way, this is a really good place for who is traveling passing by Brazil, because sometimes you're coming from South Africa and you're gonna go to the Caribbean. This is a really specific spot in Brazil, on the corner of Brazil, that if you come from Africa, for example, you just stop by here and then you keep going. So basically it's a really good stopover to get the boat ready to cross the Caribbean, and that's exactly what we're doing. But less talking, let's go to the swimming pool.
Now it's time for another important meeting.
Yeah, you know, in order to do long passages, you have a lot of important things you need to check out of the list, and some of them are really logical, like trimming the mast and getting the boat ready. But also, as we did already, the first aid course, that's really important, and sometimes you don't think that you need that. And also we need to understand about weather. We've been working with a meteorologist, Giovanni, for months already, and today we have our first meeting about specifically the crossing from here to the Caribbean. That's gonna be awesome.
So let's call him. Giovanni is a really good friend that, together with his partners Murilo and Juan, has been helping us to plan our trip to make sure instead of battling the weather, we use the weather to our advantage. In this case, going from Brazil to the Caribbean means pretty much finding the waypoints to be in the favorite side of the currents. If you need any weather assistance for crossings, we will leave Metaplan's website in the description of this video.
That's so cool. I always love to talk to Giovanni because it seems like we just start talking about meteorology and then we talk about dreams and about the plans for the future and everything.
It's been 2 hours.
Yeah, we've been talking for like 2 hours. I feel like once you get confident on learning the weather, you feel more free to travel by sailboat, and I think that's really, really important. And knowing that we have someone on shore that is always paying attention on the weather forecast and everything, I think makes us feel much safer, and also for the family, because it's one thing to say, hey family, we're leaving for 20 days, and the other thing is, hey family, we're leaving for 20 days. If you have any question, you call this guy, and if you want to know what's happening, you call this guy, and he's the one making everyone, you know, more relaxed. Thanks so much, we really appreciate. As usual, some friends just show up. Yeah, today I just got a message from Rafa. Basically Rafa is arriving today right now with some friends boat, and that's awesome because we thought we were not gonna see him for a long time, and then somehow he always end up showing up. We said goodbye to him like 1,000 times already, and we always think it's the last time, but you know, that's good, that's pretty good. Friends around.
If you have been following our channel long enough, you have seen Rafa many times. We first met him when we were in Itacaré.
And ever since, every time we say goodbye to him, we believe it's the last time we're gonna see him in months. But somehow, he always shows up in the next port. He can't, he was like missing us already. He has been trying to get me to tattoo him for a long time. But to be honest, I've been dodging him. And the reason for that is because he's 40 years old and he has no tattoos. And as you know, I'm learning, and when you're learning, it's so much easier to tattoo someone with a lot of tattoos, and that's so much more forgiving if you do any mistake. But if it's your first tattoo, you want the perfect one, and that's why I've been trying not to do that. But somehow he convinced me that he was 40 and he needed his first tattoo, and that was his birthday, so he won't. I decided to give him the gift he wanted, but that was really cool. It was a really cool way to seal our friendship, and for him to always remember the great times we had together doing this many anchorages we met, and a really cool way to say goodbye to him for real this time. And even though it was a lot of pressure, it was 100% worth, and we loved the result. Good news, more deliveries arrived. What do we have today?
Haha, good ones today. Look at this. Finally we have something comfy to sit. Made for it.
I think this is gonna be my place on the crossing. I think this is gonna be just awesome. What else arrived?
Not sponsored. We could be sponsored though.
If you want, yeah.
If you want to sponsor us. It's how do you say that?
Vacuum.
Vacuum food, like.
Yeah, vacuum seal food. So basically, this is feijoada. That's black beans from Brazil. That is a store vacuum, so we can store really easy. We can throw the box away, and we can have a lot of ready food for the crossing. It's just to heat up on the stove, and it's ready to go.
So the idea is to take the box out and to write down the expiry date here.
Oh, also, look what arrived. More leather to do some covers for the lines to make sure they don't break, because we run out of leather, and this is beautiful actually.
I love this smell. My mom used to do like belts with leather, and I love this smell.
It smells like shoes actually.
It smells like my childhood.
For me, it smells like shoes or jacket. But awesome, this is gonna help a lot. And now we need to unpack all this food.
And we also have some chicken. The expiration date for the chicken is March 24.
I drip on the boat and let everything fall in water.
Go, babe, go.
I have food for like 1 year. You see the sun? Beautiful. Sun is really strong, and every time we have strong sun means we have full batteries. Today at lunchtime we already had 100% full batteries, and that's awesome because we can do our job without worrying that we're not going to have electricity during the night, or that we need to start the engine or anything like that. Right now we are actually in a marina, and even though we are in a marina for the past 1 month, we didn't hook up the electricity, not even once, the shore power. I mean, we do have the possibility of hooking up the shore power. It's right there. Not connected at all, it's just, you know, sitting there because we don't really need, and that's really, really good. Are you abandoning the boat again?
Traveling again.
Oh, that's the first image.
First image.
What are we doing here? First of all, where are we?
Amsterdam. Amsterdam.
2022.
That's weird. Of course, the boat show never ended. We end up coming from Annapolis to Amsterdam. This is called Met's Trade Show. Basically, it's the biggest trade show for marine equipment on the entire globe. We didn't even know exists, but we met so many friends in Annapolis, and everyone mentioned about Met's. I'm like, we're gonna go to Met's this year.
Actually, we didn't know, but it seems like a Disney World.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be awesome. We're really curious. So now we are arriving for day one because we are gonna get our passes. We asked for press passes. The reason for that is because I have free food for press.
And coffee.
What if I told you you could protect your boat remotely with
seriously?
Barnacle? Absolutely.
Right now I'm worrying about my boat that's back in Brazil. I'm like, what's going on with my
And
boat?
you can have a discount on the insurance.
That's right, up to 15%. What if I told you you could save up to 15% on your insurance?
What if I told you that I don't have insurance? I really don't. I really don't have insurance. I'm the insurance.
Nothing can save you.
So basically, these are the guys responsible for us being here today. We're just walking around Annapolis. They were good friends and sponsors of the YouTube booth in Annapolis, and we're just walking around the show. And they were like, "No, we're gonna go to Amsterdam for work next month." And we were like, "Can we work with you guys?" And here we are. Barnacle Security Systems. Just convince them, email them and say you should give a product to Duca and Roberta because they deserve to have a safe boat. They didn't want to give us one yet, so please email them and just say Duca and Roberta deserve to use your system. Can you do that? Thank you, I appreciate it. How do you like me on my business?
Can you introduce the system?
What yes,
they do?
you can introduce the system. This is the founder of the system. He created the system, so he can explain about what's Barnacle.
Yeah, so Barnacle is the security monitoring system for your boat. You can check in remotely from your smartphone, tablet, or computer.
It's awesome. I wish I had that because the boat right now is in Brazil, and I'm worrying because we are actually making water through the toilet right now.
Right.
And I don't know if we close the valve, but if something goes wrong, we might not have a boat in a week from now.
Absolutely. Yeah, you get your bilge alarms, your notifications, and right before this trip, my bilge pump failed, and it failed on. I had a little stick get jammed in the bilge pump. I got an alert that my bilge was on for 2 hours, went down to the boat, checked on the bilge, sure enough, It was hot, which was scary, of course, but I was able to fix it before there was any disaster. So it even protected my own boat right before the trip.
Hopefully, if you guys email them, we're gonna have a system that tells us if we have problems.
You might see me in my swim trunks next time you see me too.
Doing an installation in the Caribbean. You're more than welcome. And I mean it.
I would love that. You are now an official employee of Barnacle.
Oh, we need to work now.
That's right.
If you think we're here just on vacations, we are working really hard.
You wouldn't wear a blazer for any other reason.
So I look good.
That's
now,
perfect.
excuse me, I'm gonna work here. Need to talk to you guys. I'm gonna work around.
So we need to work. We need to explain it.
That's right, yeah. So this is actually my sailboat floating around back in Canada. This is a simulation, of course. But we've got a geofence with the GPS tracks. You can see the battery voltages, bilge pump status, the door being open or closed. And then down below, we can actually see the graphing pages. So if you've got solar panels on board your boat, you can actually watch the status of your solar panels as they're charging your vessel. And then all the different stats. We got temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, so you can understand if you're growing mold on board, pitch and heel and impact, so that's the attitude of the boat in the water. So if your boat's starting to have sudden impacts against the dock during a storm, or if it's beginning to list because you're sinking, you can get a notification for that. And the system does come with a camera. It's ultra low power, and it's 35 milliamps. For those of you that are very power conscious on board your sailboat or your power boat, 35 milliamps is all it takes to power the Barnacle.
And the curious thing is that if someone hits you, you have the camera activated, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So if you have an intruder, if someone hits your boat, all those systems activate the camera, take photographs, and send them via cellular or satellite data.
This is great, actually.
So what's the difference in between?
So the difference between the Barnacle Blue and the Barnacle Blue is our newest system, which supports NEMA 2000 or NEMA 2000. I know I get in trouble for saying NEMA 2000, but it also supports surveillance cameras. So if you've got IP cameras that you'd like to connect, you can store live streaming video on board with the 4 terabyte hard drive and collect all your NMEA 2000 data. So if you wanted to see several years worth of history of your boat's data, it's actually stored locally on board or pushed up to the
So, to be honest, we didn't really plan to have an episode about the Mad Trade show, but we had so much fun that we couldn't skip this one. We have been dreaming of building a boat from scratch one day, and for anyone with this dream, Mats is the dreamland. Even though this is a business show, in the end what really matters are the friendships we make. The old and the new friends we have the opportunity to hang out with. Like meeting in person for the first time friends that we have been talking on video calls for years, there's no price on that. A special thanks to our Barnacle and Zentrax family for making this amazing life-changing trip possible.
Welcome to the abyss of Amsterdam. Duke, how are you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling great. So join us next week when we extend our trip for one more day to visit our friend's amazing 49-foot aluminum boat being built in the Netherlands. Dreaming, Disney World.